another minute or two, you think? Claire, you've already started recording. We can get started. Everyone's got things to do. So, Jess, are you gonna
I can
share
share.
your screen? And since you're gonna be doing most of it,
Yeah, I can. Let me
all
know
right.
when you're able to see that screen because I'm not going to be able to see on your.
Yes,
Okay.
I can see it. So, all right. Well, welcome everyone. This is our House Corporation Workshop series. This one is going to be focusing on best practices for summer turnover. So we're really excited and it's timely with turnover coming up in about a month. In some cases, it's actually going to be just a couple of weeks. So here are the topics that we figure are relevant for summer turnover. We're going to go into a little introduction of GHM and what we do. And then we're going to cover everything to get your house ready for renting in the fall, basically what to do from May until August. Um, and then how to protect the house corporation's investment, to provide safe, competitive, and affordable housing for your members. So a little bit about us, Greek Housing Management. This is our vision and mission statement. I'm not going to read them. We can certainly pass this on to you and you can take a look if you don't already know it. And then just our core values, we call it ELITE, which is experience, loyalty, innovation, truth, and expertise. And then obviously we've got some subtopics under there, but that's a little bit about GHM and what our mission and how we operate. So feel free if you're bored, you can certainly read through that. Go ahead to the next slide. This is our GHM team. It's really broken into three areas. You've got your chapter house operations that manage the day-to-day operations of the house itself. You've got your finance and accounting. There's a ton of work behind the scenes to make these properties run. And then we have a sales position right now that's currently vacant. At some point, we'll get that filled and continue doing sales for GHM. We got a board of directors of 5 board members, and you can see those listed on your left-hand side. In addition, we have 2 honorary board members that provide some expertise. One is a banker, one is an architect, and so they're very helpful. So we got a DePaul, a Mississippi State, a North Dakota, a Northwestern, and an Idaho board member. Or board members. So great expertise, great knowledge. They help us operate better and better and more efficient. Go ahead to the next one. A little bit about the things that GHM currently does. We obviously do chapter house management and operations for the actual house, but in addition to that, we're doing a lot of the accounting, the finance. Um, we're doing operations and maintenance falls under that chapter house operations. We provide some legal support where needed, leasing and compliance, and then human resources. As I always tell people, 40 years ago when you were on the house corporation, you basically showed up for homecoming and a few football games, and it was all good. Fraternity houses have become a very complex organization. You've got workman's comp insurance on employees. These kids today, they don't clean the house anymore. So you've got to have cleaning staff. And so it's become very complex managing them. And then obviously we assist house corporations where they feel it's needed. Go ahead to the next slide. Some of the clients we support, I won't certainly go into all of those, but you can see we have a nationwide reach all the way from Durham, New Hampshire to Pullman, Washington, Eugene, Oregon, down to Florida, Texas, California, Michigan. We're all over. And so it certainly has given us a lot of knowledge base on different markets and allowed us to refine our best practices that work because some areas are a little different than others, but we feel like we've got some really good best practices that can really relate to all the chapters that we oversee. Go ahead to the next one. So presenting tonight, obviously, I'm Greg Summers. I'm the Chief Executive Officer for SA Financial and Housing Corporation. We've got Jessica Young, our Senior Director of Asset Management, and we've got Juan Fria, the Senior Director of Finance. So we'll be the three presenting. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Jessica to start the presentation.
Thanks, Greg. So, again, we're going to keep this very high level. I'm not going to read through the slides because I know that you're fully capable, but just starting with the basics, communication is key. So, speaking for our team at GHM, we are doing targeted move out meetings with residents in conjunction with our house directors that will allow us to get expectations out there and understand the questions that members may have around those expectations. Following those move out meetings via Zoom, we are following up with an email communication to again reinforce those expectations and are working with our on-site house directors to ensure that we have compliance as we move towards the end of the academic year. Our on-site house director is our quarterback of this process, and so we work with them as well as with the undergraduate house manager to make sure that we have a process in place and that residents understand that they need to return keys, they need to check out properly, and again, that there are expectations that they need to meet throughout this entire process. Huge takeaway for us is that keys are key. We need to make sure that we're getting keys up front, that we're auditing those keys, and that any keys that are missing are accounted for and replaced with residents paying those damage fees because we need to make sure that the house is secure as we close out the end of the academic year. And we here at GHM also prefer to use electronic access because electronic access systems, regardless of which one they are, usually allow the ability to suspend members. So you don't have to delete out all your members every year, but you can suspend access for your members. So that means that you're only entering new members that come in the fall and that you have your existing class still intact in the system. So those are the processes that we work through with our on-site house directors. In addition to understanding the amount of junk, the amount of trash, that changes from chapter to chapter, year to year. And unfortunately, sometimes we do have live outs that come by and we'll use our dumpsters for trash. And so we, again, work to have a good understanding of how we need to be proactive in having receptacles in place so we don't have debris collecting around the property. Any questions or anything else to expand on here, Greg, from your perspective?
No.
Shutting down the facility, again, not going to read through all of this, but really it's a coordination effort the entire summer between the vendors, the teams that are doing specific tasks during the turnover process. So you're going to have your handyman and your general contractor, but at the same time, you might have summer projects. You might have bathroom renovations happening in addition to the normal turnover process. You're going to be working with your food service providers to ensure that you do a proper closeout, that if you need to service your grease trap at the end of the year, it's serviced, and that you have proper hood cleanings to close out the kitchen and set yourself up for success in the fall. Inventory is a big thing for us at GHM. And again, I know every house has different systems, but we utilize an asset tracking system. So we're working with our team on the ground this summer after move out to make sure that we have all of our equipment and furnishing items fully tracked and that we know which rooms those pieces are in. So if something goes missing, something is damaged, the correct individual is held accountable for that cost. And then security can really be achieved through design. And so making sure that you have lights on timers, that you are making sure that your landscape is maintained over the summer and that there's the impression that somebody is there full time, whether or not you have an on-site house director, really, again, helps the chapter to be set up for success when they come back in the fall. Here at GHM, we utilize Revelo, which is an amazing platform, and we do 4 inspections of the chapter house per week during the academic year. We dial that back down over summer, so really only 1 inspection per week, but we still make sure that we have people present at the property and that there's supervision at all times. So I really would stress that piece so that you don't have uninvited visitors in the house if it's left unoccupied for an extended period of time. So the work at the chapter house for us falls into 3 buckets. As I've mentioned, we have common area damages and repairs. So that's damage caused by the individuals, whether it be the tenants in the rooms or common area damages that are assessed to members. We treat those as items that are billed back to our members. Preventative and routine maintenance, that's your filter changes, your grease trap cleanings, things of that nature. That helps prolong the useful life of your systems. And so that should be something that is regularly on your schedule and on your radar. Deferred maintenance and capital improvements really depends on the timing of where you're at in your average lifespan, or if you're working with the chapter, you fundraise and you have improvements that you're planning to make. So we look at items in the chapter house every year under these buckets as we work through turnover.
Jessica, can I mention about turnkey here?
Yeah, absolutely.
So a company, and I want to make sure everyone here is aware of a company we've been utilizing. There's a company called Turnkey, And Turnkey does like 400,000 rooms in college campuses throughout the country. And basically, they come in, they reset the room, they paint it, they fix any holes, they paint it, they check the windows, they make sure the screens are in, they check the smoke detectors, they check the lights, the light switches, the sockets, you name it. They do a full inventory and they fix everything. And then when you get a bill, that bill is itemized by room, and there's a picture related to every single item that they worked on. And I can tell you from our own practice, we used to, have a local handyman who would come in there, and then I'd get a bill and it'd say $5,000 repaint rooms. Well, I don't know how to break that down. What room did they repaint? How much time did they spend? Now I can actually break it down and charge the individuals that were in that bedroom. And then in the common areas, they do the same thing. They say, hey, it was, $1,400 to repaint the living room, and they have pictures showing what it looked like. And so, if anyone would want more information on Turnkey, we'd be glad to share that with you. But that's the direction we're going. And the great thing about them is they have a massive network all over the country, so they can be anywhere needed, which we certainly appreciate. And they can work on your time frame, because a lot of times what ends up happening is you get a local contractor and he's like, "Hey, I'll be there June 12th," and now it's like July 15th, he still hasn't shown up because he's busy on another project, and you're left scrambling at the last minute to try to get your house turned over. So again, if anyone wants information on Turnkey, we're glad to share it with you. It's what we use on our own properties now.
And to give them one more plug, because they are awesome to work with, and really they will help you get a quote on anything, even if it's just for a competitive bid. But they have a remediation team. So if you ever did have an insurance loss and you needed to navigate something quickly, we could also help connect the dots at that point too. So they've offered that service, and they have helped us in the past with a claim that we had actually at Oregon. So fantastic resource. So, membership deposits or security deposits? That is the question, because each chapter, each house corporation can utilize a different process. So, we here at GHM utilize membership deposits, which means that every single member has a deposit on the line, and that ties back to those common area damages. Everybody can equally help offset those costs. Other chapters only operate off of security deposits for live-in members. So, really, it depends on your model, but membership deposits are not time bound. Membership deposits can be remitted back once you've had the chance to look at things. Security deposits are beholden to security deposit law, and depending on the state that you're operating in, could require a 30-day return, and also could require fully itemized damages that have been also repaired. So again, a 30-day clock to not only fix it, but to bill it back to the member itemized out. And so that's going entirely back to Greg's conversation on Turnkey, and why we've pivoted that direction is because it allows us to be timely for our chapters where we do have security deposits in place.
Yeah, let me just add on to that, Jessica, to give some more clarity. For us, when they join as a freshman, they're not living in the house, they pay a membership deposit. That deposit is a deposit to secure all their obligations of being a member. That includes national dues, social dues, I mean, you name it. But it also secures their any damages to the house, both personal damages and then common area damages. And so it's very different. It does not fall under landlord tenant laws in any state. This has been tested. So if anyone would want more information on going to that route, because as she said, when you only have 30 days to not only fix it, but to then bill it out and then refund the security deposits. And if you don't, in some states, you're liable for what they call treble damages, triple what they are owed. So if they gave you a $500 security deposit, if you don't get it back within 30 days, you owe them $1,500. We can help you avoid all of that and give you the time. You can't fix a house most of the time in 30 days. It takes a couple of months. I always say fraternity houses need 3 months to heal. So that's why we close all of our properties down in the summertime. So I just wanted to put a little more clarity on that. Sorry.
No, don't apologize. I think it's a very valid point. And having operated for another company where we did have security deposits in place, and it was a sorority house, we had a lot less damage. It was a struggle there. And so I really do appreciate the flexibility of the membership deposit model that we have here with Greek Housing Management.
Another thing, just to point out real quick, Jessica,
Yeah.
one of the biggest benefits we've also seen with the membership deposit, as opposed to house corporations across the country using security deposits, is that typically with security deposits, you are held to waiting to bill back any damages until the end of the year when you're actually refunding the remainder of that deposit. With membership deposits, you can actually bill in real time any of the damages that are occurring throughout the year. We will actually be moving over to a 4 time a year billing cycle, almost quarterly, for damages moving forward. And I'll kick it back to you, Jess, to kind of start that process.
No, that was a perfect tee up because, again, we don't want to have members feel like we're nickel and diming them. That's not what we're here for, but we need to be timely with the damage assessments. And so we have worked to develop this list, very standard with an apartment complex or with university housing that you have the standard fee sheet. And this fee sheet will allow us that the second that damage is reported in the facility, we have a fee that's associated with that and we can bill the individual before the repairs even take place. So on an individual basis, we will be dealing with damage according to the sheet in real time. And then as Juan stated, if there's damage that we don't know who caused it, it's in the chapter house, then we'll review chapter damages that are assessed for the chapter to determine how they're going to be handled quarterly. So Greg or Juan, feel free to jump in and make that clearer, but essentially kind of two different buckets of damages, the ones that we know who caused it and the ones that we're unsure. And so the chapter collectively has to work through that process. All right, so this is coming for us this academic year. We've been working to develop it. We've been working with Turnkey to vet this list to make sure that the charge list is in alignment with what it actually costs to repair the damage. And so again, this is going to be something that upfront at move-in, every single member receives a copy of this sheet, and they understand that if I punch a hole in the wall, this is going to be the cost every single time that that damage occurs at the chapter house.
And Jessica, one thing I'll add to that is we in the past have only charged what it actually cost us, but in some situations, the coordination, the amount of effort on our part was significant. And so for you local house corporations, when you're putting a ton of effort in to meet contractors on site, that helps the house corporation recover some of their costs. Because there is I want to call it a markup, but there's a small markup based on each of these. And so we're certainly, again, glad to share this schedule with any house corporation, but it's just a way for you to recoup some of the out-of-pocket costs that are, not cash, but time maybe is the best way to put it.
Is this schedule available on the website, or where can we get a copy of it, Greg?
Just
Absolutely. Send it out and work with Holly to get it posted. Since it is a new document, we will work to get these things live on the website over the next few months.
Okay,
And,
great.
and I
Great.
will add, Jerry, we are recording this and we will be putting this video up on the website. And then we'll send the PowerPoint out to anyone who would request it. So obviously this is in it, but if you just wanted this PDF, Jerry, we're glad to send it to you also.
Yeah, somebody send me a copy. Okay, I think it's very useful for us going into the summer uh, for our plans too.
Absolutely. And as Greg stated, there's the time factor, but also there's wanting to minimize the incentive to engage in bad behavior also. So if there's certain things that we see regular violations of or things that relate back to fire safety, you might see a heftier fee associated with those damages or cleanings. So want to call that out specifically because we want to emphasize life safety at all times in these chapter houses. As we look to the fall, basically at the same time that we're communicating with outgoing residents, we're starting the conversation with incoming residents. We're working with the officers to solidify our live-in list. So again, from the GHM side, we're working to try to get those lists in hand by April 15th. But really the larger goal needs to be to have these lists in hand with room assignments before the end of the academic year. When people have their room assignments, I would just say in general, there's less change between the end of the academic year and the start of the next year, with members maybe signing alternative leases or things of that nature, because again, there's clarity around the room assignment. So that's a best practice for us.
Just let me add to that too. Another reason to get it is one, obviously, if you're going to be short. But two, and we've been seeing this a little bit in our own property, is a room that's designated as a double, and if the fire marshal were to look at it, it would be a double. The chapter will sometimes make it a triple, put in underclassmen, and then take a room that's designated as a double and make it a single, so that the occupancy stays the same, but they get the benefit of the big room as a single. And so this gives the House Corporation an opportunity to say, hey, no, that doesn't meet fire code. So just throwing that out there.
Yeah, and again, I think there's two chapters in particular where that's come up as we've navigated this so far this year. So, very valid point. With communicating early, absolutely. As soon as we know what the dates are for the upcoming year, we should be sending those out. And so in April, when we have those confirmed upcoming year live-in lists, then we'll start to push out the occupancy dates and expectations around what you can bring to the chapter house with you. A big thing for us at GHM is no outside furniture. And so we need to make sure that we're clear on that message early and that we're repeating that message often before move-in date, so they're not bringing things that shouldn't be there on at the start of the year. So again, in July, we'll reset those expectations for move-in. We'll send them information if they want to request an early move-in, because again, we don't want people showing up days early trying to move into the chapter house that we don't expect. Payment requirements are a big thing. If you have not satisfied your deposit and your first payment for GHM, you're not allowed to move into the chapter house. So we work with Juan's team to get a full list of who's eligible for move-in, and then that is the list that the house directors use to issue keys based on. So people don't receive keys if that list has not been verified. And members are very well aware of that in advance. And Juan's team does a really good job of communicating with the members directly in advance of move-in if they have an outstanding balance.
Jessica, let me add to that. We've had situations, I can think of one particular in Washington State University, where unfortunately we didn't prevent someone from moving in. Our house director apparently didn't get the notice that he hadn't gotten an approved payment plan or made his first payment. And then it took like 3 months or 4 months in the court system to finally evict him. And he had no intention of ever paying, but he got 4 months of free rent at that point. So even more reason why no one's allowed to move in until you've got either a payment plan or payment in full, with a credit card or a checking account. It's just so imperative to not let them move in without that in place.
And during move-in, in addition to providing them with access keys, the list of the damage sheet, and having them participate in the inspection to verify the condition of their room at move-in, we also work with them to understand if there are dietary restrictions that could impact food service. So if we do find out of those things, we do report that to the food service company to again set them up for success at the start of the year. So this video is going to show you our move-in process. This is the document that we used last year. So some things will be revised as we move into the new year. And here is a copy of the paper form that we used in the past. We are working to have the check-in process be electronic on Revella entirely. The room condition form, again, is them agreeing to the conditions, and that will be in Revella moving forward. Emergency contacts and food restrictions are listed there. This reference sheet is available if they want to fill out their own details. We have a note from our CEO, from Greg, to welcome them. And then we get right into the rules, which again is huge for us. We want to make sure that there is a copy of this document, whether they keep it or not, it's going to be available online, but a copy so that the chapter house rules are accessible. So that's something that we're going to work with the house director on. They also, in general, post the chapter house rules in another location. The fee guide is listed there, so it has the billing dates. Again, there is no surprises. The expectations are clear, and this damage schedule is what has been updated to the new sheet you just viewed. We include details from our food service provider, how to get access to their app. Some providers do have a code that is unique to your chapter, so in that case, we would include that, and then a contact list. So they will have a copy of this at the chapter house that is filled out, that is a reference, and parents love that stuff. So really, we're trying to make sure that we have communication on the website in their hands and also via email. And that, again, that communication is repeated frequently as we ramp up for move-in for the academic year. So any questions?
Couple things that I would like to add to is really just that summer communication, especially as members are away from the chapter house. If you have any capital improvements, whether that's just installing something as simple as a basketball hoop, getting a pool table, whatever it might be, getting that excitement in the air regarding that new chapter amenity is always a great thing to send out to members, parents, and any other stakeholders, just because it gets them excited over the summer to come back to the chapter house. Additionally, I did see that Jeff Rovner is on the call, so I have to do a shameless plug for the SE Foundation and just make sure that if you are a part of a house corporation, make sure you're taking advantage of any chapter allocation funds, which are special housing designated funds at the SE Foundation to assist with improvements and general operations of the chapter facility. Greg on this call has probably helped manage and process dozens, if not hundreds at this point. And sorry, Greg, but Jerry Solomon at Mississippi Theta, Mississippi State probably did it better than anyone else in my recent history of 8 years on staff. So there's great resources all around if anyone is looking for possible financing solutions or even just general assistance with the SE Foundation, getting your chapter allocation fund set up. We're all here. We're all willing to assist in any way we can.
Another thing I would tell you, and we didn't put it in the PowerPoint, and we will add this in. If usually a city or a fire marshal will schedule an annual inspection. Always try to do that about 2 weeks before the kids move in, when the house is in perfect condition and you have no extension cords anywhere around the house and the kids haven't screwed it up already. That's the best time to get your annual inspection done, is when no one is living there. So I'll throw that out there.
It's added, Greg. You got it. And it'll go out on the PowerPoint to everyone.
Any other questions that people have, or maybe throw it out there about something you've done that works well at your own chapter? We're certainly don't have a monopoly on knowledge. We'll hear anyone else's best practices. Oh, Jerry, you're on mute. There you go.
Okay. Since we're getting to the point at the end of the semester with you're talking about the membership deposits, I struggle with a easy way to reconcile for all the seniors graduating and refunding membership deposits to the guys that qualify to have their membership deposit refunded. One, have y'all or you or John found a particular analysis or schedule in Revela that helps you through that process to sort through the guys that deserve a refund of their membership deposit versus others? Or
Yes, and there have been some updates to the reports regarding lease execution, which can also look at the membership agreement that the members sign when they first sign on, and additional updates to the, I believe it's the deposit report that we asked, the member deposit report that we asked for updates to. If those aren't working for you, Jerry, let me know, and we can ask them to take a second look, just because there were a couple hiccups, but they were able to figure those out in the system, and the report seemed to be back up and running adequately.
Okay. All right. I'll be working on it here soon with the graduating seniors in May. So I was curious if what was there.
Yeah. And another thing as well, because of our partnership with the fraternity and everything that we've been upgrading with Salesforce and making sure that the member onboarding with the fraternity has been updated, we are tracking class year a lot better with the fraternity now. So those are reports that we can pull and make available to house corporations or yourself, Jerry, to make sure that we're following those class years adequately for all those seniors. It's taken about 4 years to get there, but I think we finally have this first senior class that we actually have reliable numbers on. So,
Well, to me, one of the great weaknesses that we've had overall is that when these guys graduate, so many of them use their university email address when they're initially onboarded to the system, and but at least Revela now allows you to have the secondary email address that they ultimately keep past post graduation. So if there was a way to communicate that to the national office so that it gets updated when they go to graduate alumnus status, it sure would help the future communication with them as alumni versus underclassmen.
Trust me, the fraternity wants that information just as much as you do, Jerry. They struggle to communicate with them.
Oh, I know. It's a struggle for everybody because we try to communicate with them about alumni reunions and everything. And if we don't start at some point helping National build that better email database, then we never get there.
And that could be something. One of the things, Jerry, we're thinking about doing is if you're a graduating senior, we may request in order to get your membership deposit back, you have to actually request it, provide a transcript from the university, and provide a email address that is a non university email address that you'll have moving forward. It's still something we're looking into, but I think we're going to go that route because we have too many kids that say, oh, I graduate, and I look and like, oh, you just joined last year and you were a freshman. How are you already graduating? So, so yes, we're looking into that. I got one more, just best practice for summer turnover because of mistakes we've made. If you have a roll off, let's say you have a 20-yard roll off dumpster delivered because you want guys being able to just throw stuff in and your normal 5-yard dumpster won't work. Don't just leave it there in perpetuity because all of a sudden everyone in the city university uses it as their dumping ground. And next thing you know, it's 4 feet above the top of the dumpster and they won't take it. So make sure someone's actively monitoring that and make sure you have an end date of when it's scheduled to be picked up. Another best practice. Any other questions? It's a small group today. We got to figure out how to advertise this better. I think maybe everyone's busy trying to finish their taxes today or something.
That's valid. Maybe not tax day next time.
Well, with that, oh, someone has, oh, okay. Yes, thank you, Chris. With that, we will get the next one scheduled. It will probably happen right before move-in. So that will be probably sometime in July. We'll get that date set and sent out sooner than later to mark your calendars. And it'll just be, even though we did talk about summer turnover, it'll be best practices related to move-in and getting ready for the fall semester. So I certainly appreciate everyone's time on this call. If we'll be again making this available to anyone, and if anyone has any questions, feel free to reach out to us. We're on the website, our contact information, and we're glad to help any of you. As I always say, a rising tide raises all ships, and we want every one of you to be successful. So thank you so much.